Chapter 1081, 1081 Poor and Helpless Yunnan, 4. 1081 Poor and Helpless Yunnan, 4. It was actually true? There was really such a person? The miserable state of the black meteorite yak and black goat seemed to have already told him that it was indeed. Just as the beast tamers of the iron-eating beast corps were extremely shocked, in the next second, the two figures on the green dragon's head were teleported out. After entering the impregnable domain, he easily cracked the army skill. At this moment, Buggy's gaze also focused on the two totems that wanted to make a cheap shot, a cheap trick. Kai Tong's sister, come quickly! In the domain, Shiyu's clearer appearance was seen clearly by all the beast tamers and battle pets here. He was wearing a dark red battle trench coat and his short hair was slightly blown by the wind. His extremely young face made them a little confused. At this moment, General Ji Yun, who was on the demon god iron-eating beast, looked at Shiyu, who had been teleported over with his daughter, with a cold expression. Father, this is Shiyu. I told you just now. Ji Mengzhu first called out to General Ji Yun. At this moment, Ji Yunchong took a deep breath and bowed gratefully at Shiyu with a serious expression. Then, he looked around. Everyone, these are the reinforcements I told you just now. They've arrived. I didn't make it clear previously that the reinforcements aren't the border army. It's the expert recruited by the national recruitment this time, Sir Shiyu. Among the two Yun clan totems just now, one of them wasn't lying. General Black Dragon indeed invaded Dong Huang's Wuling city. However, thanks to Sir Shiyu, General Black Dragon, who invaded Wuling city, has already been killed by him. After that, they even sensed the danger and came to support us. Sir Shiyu, on behalf of Dong Huang, I thank you. As soon as he finished speaking, the brains of the other beast tamers of the iron-eating beast corps instantly rumbled as they looked at Shiyu in disbelief. They looked at Shiyu, who had easily suppressed the two totems just now. Bastard, what exactly is going on? At the same time, in the depths of the Yun nation, a demon god with a body like a city was fighting the domineering man in front of him with several totems beside him. Yunnan originally wanted to teach Emperor Wu a lesson this time, but he didn't expect that in such a short period of time, Emperor Wu's strength would actually improve quickly. The last time, he was even suppressed by it, but this time, he could actually suppress it. Is this all your tricks? Emperor Wu stared at Yunnan. Although his body was covered in injuries, Yunnan in front of him and the various totems under its command were also heavily injured by him and his pets. Looking at the totems that left Yunnan's side one by one and were teleported away by Yunnan, Emperor Wu locked onto this number one enemy. Ha 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 ha. Yunnan felt a headache. It didn't want to continue fighting for the time being, because things were a little unexpected. At this rate, he couldn't deal with this human legendary at all. It was better to let him be naturally poisoned to death. Wu Dong, I advise you not to pester me anymore. Let me tell you, your country is currently being invaded by my other generals. If you don't go back quickly to take a look, the dynasty you built with much difficulty will be destroyed. As Yunnan finished speaking, Emperor Wu's expression changed. In fact, he had already noticed that there was something wrong with the number of totems under Yunnan just now. You don't believe me? Ha ha ha, then let me communicate with them and let you see the miserable state of their perspective. Yunnan said. It directly used a secret technique to contact the Black Space Divine Dragon, the Black Meteorite Yak, and the Black Ram. These totems were all modified by it, so it naturally had a way to contact them like a beast tamer. This connection was not important. Yunnan then roared angrily with a look of disbelief. Woo 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 woo. Emperor Wu? Chapter 1082, 1082 Shocking Emperor Wu for 10,000 Years, 1. 1082 Shocking Emperor Wu for 10,000 Years, 1. Roar! Yunnan roared at the sky, an angry roar that blew away sand and rocks, causing space to tremble. Its angry appearance made Emperor Wu fall silent. He had never heard Yunnan's miserable roar. Even when he maced the meteorite fragment, this guy didn't even frown. Wu Dong! Yunnan's anger burned. the current Yunnan was indeed even more furious than having a few pieces of his body hammered off. So be it if the fragment fell. As long as it absorbed enough nutrition, it could recover again anyway. Elemental life forms were very tenacious. However, every one of the 12 generals under it was modified by it with greater effort. The resources spent far exceeded a few body fragments. After all, this was transforming 12 overlords into 12 totems. According to the probability of a legendary resource having a 1 in 10 chance of strengthening a totem, Yunnan's investment was at least dozens of legendary resources. It had invested all their assets in order to unify the East today. 3,000 years ago, Yunnan woke up for the first time. Because he was too arrogant, he challenged the entire world alone and was attacked by a group. Now, after 3,000 years, Yunnan had learned to be smart. After waking up, it directly developed carefully for many years, unearthed 12 top-notch overlords with good talent, and cultivated them. Only when he gathered 12 powerful subordinates did he dare to come out. These subordinates indeed made Yunnan worry less. There was no need for it to do anything personally. It didn't take long for Yunnan to understand the benefits of having power. It could be said that the 12 totems were its hearts. Even when fighting Emperor Wu, it was especially careful to avoid its subordinates being killed. In fact, Yunnan had done it. However, what Yunnan couldn't accept was, instead, 3 of the 4 subordinates it sent had problems. The Black Space Divine Dragon it trusted the most was sent to Dong Huang's Wuling city. When Yunnan used a bloodline mystic technique to contact it, it directly sensed that the Black Space Divine Dragon no longer existed. A heart-piercing pain that was like a knife was transmitted from the bloodline contract, making Yunnan widen his eyes. It saw the scene before the Black Space Divine Dragon died. It was in the huge air sword formation, facing a red-eyed girl in silver armor. The girl controlled the sword formation, and space was instantly sealed. Under the soaring sword intent, a wave that could even kill gods rose with a bang. Roar! Amidst the angry roar, Yunnan was also mixed with some affliction. Quasi-divine skill. If it weren't a quasi-divine skill that had touched the laws, it was impossible for it to feel the pain of the Black Space Divine Dragon so clearly just by relying on its bloodline connection. How was this possible? Yunnan couldn't understand. They couldn't believe that there was still a life form who had mastered a quasi-divine skill in Dong Huang. After all, the Emperor Wu in front of him had yet to cultivate a quasi-divine skill. It was purely suppressed by the powerful power condensed by the fusion of multiple pets. In terms of skill, it was far inferior. Otherwise, Yunnan wouldn't be so confident that Emperor Wu couldn't heal its radiation injuries. Therefore, Yunnan really couldn't understand why Dong Huang still had such an expert. The Black Space Divine Dragon disappeared under her attack. The bloodline connection was completely severed, and the signs of life completely disappeared. His strongest general was dead? It was even to the extent that without a complete corpse, the body that contained the power of the bloodline had become nothing. Apart from that, the signs of life of the Black Meteorite Yak and the Black Mountain Demon Goat had also completely disappeared. Although he could sense that their bodies still existed and had yet to be completely destroyed, their life fluctuations had indeed disappeared. The scene transmitted by them before they died also shocked Yunnan. That was the power of faith. The faith skill that swept up the dragon might directly heavily injured the 2 totems to the verge of death. The terrifying dragon might was even close to divine might, making the Black Ram and the Black Yak feel fear that came from their hearts. Yunnan also felt a heart-wrenching pain. Starry Sky Faith God. The power of a meteor. Who is it again? Yunnan was shocked and furious. Apart from him, there was actually such a strong cosmic life form on Blue Planet? Moreover, from the looks of it, they were all under Emperor Wu. Yunnan was immediately extremely angry. He looked at the broken Emperor Wu and the totems behind him. He originally thought that this battle was all under his control. However, it didn't expect that Dong Huang's foundation was far richer than it imagined. Emperor Wu dared to enter the enemy's nest not only because he had broken through, but also because he had sufficient backup plans. Wu Dong, very good, very good. I underestimated you. So you're the one who's fully prepared. Life that has mastered a quasi-divine skill, starry sky faith god. You can actually kill the 3 generals I sent. Apart from you, Dong Huang actually has such a guy. Yunan's eyes were filled with anger. Emperor Wu? The Emperor Wu in front of Yunnan was 7 meters tall. Although it retained its human form to a large extent, the beast characteristics on its body were very obvious. Bull horns, dragon blood, tiger patterns, ghost armor, sparrow robe. All kinds of independent beast characteristics appeared on his body, making Emperor Wu look very domineering. Although black blood was dripping and the armor was continuously cracking, Emperor Wu maintained his calm and tried his best to recover his strength. Behind him, the huge iron-eating beast and the other totems that had yet to fuse with Emperor Wu were also covered in injuries, but they still stared at Yunnan. Chapter 1083, 1083 Shocking Emperor Wu for 10,000 Years, 2. 1083 Shocking Emperor Wu for 10,000 Years, 2. However, Yunnan confused them. What was going on? Someone killed the 3 generals Yunnan sent? Moreover, Yunnan even said that it was Dong Huang's beast tamer? What a joke! Emperor Wu was silent. Why didn't he remember that he had such a backup plan? When Yunnan just spoke, Emperor Wu was indeed a little worried. After all, it was a fact that his whereabouts had been exposed and he was surrounded by Yunnan and the 8 Yun clan totems. If it weren't for the fact that he broke through first, he might really have failed. His whereabouts had been exposed, and so had most likely the whereabouts of the iron-eating beast core. With the top battle power of the dynasty not around, Emperor Wu thought from Yunnan's perspective. The Yun clan definitely wouldn't miss this good opportunity. Not only was it a good opportunity to destroy him and Ji Yuncheng, but it was also a good opportunity to destroy the stability of Dong Huang. If the Yun race really did this, the confrontation situation between the 2 parties would be even more complicated. If the city invaded by the Yun race didn't have enough defense power, the people would undoubtedly be plunged into misery and suffering. As for the iron-eating beast core, they would definitely fall into a bitter battle. In this situation, even if he successfully suppressed Yunnan and obtained the meteorite fragment, it might not necessarily be a complete victory. And the reality was that the situation was really developing in this direction. However, the final direction of development was a little different from what Emperor Wu had analyzed just now. This Yunnan had just said that the 3 totems it sent were all killed? A life form that had mastered a quasi-divine skill? A starry sky faith god? Emperor Wu was certain that Dong Huang definitely didn't have such a life form. What exactly happened in the outside world? In an instant, Emperor Wu was also filled with confusion. He looked at Yunnan expressionlessly. Was this guy lying to him? Surrender. Just now, the blood from the injuries all over Emperor Wu's body was still dripping and polluted by the darkness. And now, the injuries had already condensed. After adjusting his state, he retracted his pet outside and punched in the air, ignoring what Yunnan said. Extreme Martial Emperor Fist! He roared and punched the huge Yunnan in the air. The surrounding void and natural power instantly seemed to be absorbed by the fist and quickly condensed. The earth-shattering punch shattered the surrounding mountains with the fist wind alone. Woo-ah-ah-ah-ah! Yunnan was furious. It had never wanted to fight Emperor Wu before, so at this moment, it didn't want to fight Emperor Wu even more. You're already a dead person. There's no point in fighting you anymore. Yunnan looked at Emperor Wu as if he was looking at a dead person. Your people killed 3 of my subordinates. Then, it's not too much for you to return the favor, right? That cosmic faith god, compensate me. At that moment, although Yunnan was furious, he suddenly discovered the nature of the skill that made the black meteorite yak and the black ram feel fear. That creature's skill was very nutritious for it. The Dragon Star group contained the power of the cosmic meteorite and the power of faith, and as a meteorite life form, Yunnan was a creature that ate meteorites. Yunnan decided that although Dong Huang had the advantage in this battle, it definitely couldn't lose out. It wanted the life form that had mastered the power of the starry sky. Secret skill, corpse reincarnation. It wanted to use the corpses of the Black Ram and the Black Meteorite Yak to directly descend to where the cosmic life form was. Ooh? Emperor Wu was shocked. His fist arrived with a bang and indeed landed on Yunnan. But at this moment, Yunnan's entire body was also filled with shocking light. It was as if it had self-destructed or been swallowed. Its body was sucked into the alternate space from the inside out. At the same time, a shocking dark wave bloomed from its body. It squeezed with the fist wave. You want to escape? Emperor Wu immediately entered into the void. Boom! A violent explosion directly turned an area of tens of thousands of meters into a radiation area. A shocking wave shot into the starry sky. A moment later, Emperor Wu's figure slowly appeared. He frowned and searched for Yunnan. This is the first time I've seen this skill. A voice from his pet quickly came from his body. Wudong, the skill it used just now is very special. It went very far. Hurry up and chase after it. It wants to pass you and attack the others. Hurry up and go to Ji Yunchong and the others. They might be in danger. I know. Emperor Wu frowned and flew quickly in the direction of the Donghuang border. Elemental creatures were what he hated the most. This Yunnan was too difficult to deal with. It was much harder to kill than the demigod tiger he had killed previously. It had to be fine over there. On the iron-eating beast core side. With Buggy's cooperation, Kai Tong directly finished off the Black Ram and the Black Meteorite Yak. It ended their lives by attacking their souls. Their so-called souls were also directly imprisoned by Kai Tong in the undead space. This time, Kai Tong could be said to have had a huge harvest. Its undead revival skill was a teaching skill. It had already reached transcendent proficiency and could control totem-level undead. 1 black space divine dragon, 1 black ram, and 1 black yak. That was 3. It wasn't to use them to fight, nor was it to spirit release them. Instead, it was to be a scapegoat. With these 3 guys, Kai Tong felt that as long as it replenished its energy in time, its body could also withstand the burden of using the immortal slaying sword formation 3 times in a row. At that moment, Shiyu still received the shocked gazes of the army. Chapter 1084, 1084 Shocking Emperor Wu for 10,000 years, 3. 1084 Shocking Emperor Wu for 10,000 years, 3. Ji Mengzhu followed beside Shiyu like a fangirl. Too strong. Shiyu's strength refreshed her understanding again. It was really as strong as Emperor Wu. No, it was even stronger than Emperor Wu. Back when the totem battle ended, Emperor Wu was the same. Destroying totems was like destroying ants. But at that time, Emperor Wu had already stepped into the legendary stage. And the current Shiyu was clearly a legend. He shouldn't be as young as he looks, right? After knowing that Shiyu was recruited by the entire country, the beast tamers in the iron-eating beast core were in an explosive mood. It felt like a dream. So the national conscription could recruit a powerful beast tamer who casually destroyed 2 totems? In addition, Shiyu looked too young, so they didn't know how to accept it. No need to thank me. At this moment, Shiyu smiled at General Ji Yun's gratitude. If you want to thank me, it's not too late to thank me when we go back. Definitely. Ji Yun looked at his daughter. Although he didn't know where Ji Mengzhu had recruited such a beast tamer, but Ji Yunchong was shocked, but without a doubt, with the exaggerated strength of the young man in front of him, he could definitely obtain the highest level of treatment from Emperor Wu. A title general was not enough to match Shiyu's current strength. He wondered how Emperor Wu would feel when he saw the young man in front of him. Not good, Emperor Wu. Ji Yunchong was suddenly shocked. Then, he suddenly looked at Shiyu. Sir Shiyu, I have a presumptuous request. Just as the communication said, our whereabouts have already been exposed, so His Majesty Emperor Wu's whereabouts must have also been exposed. Even we were attacked by 2 totems. Then His Majesty Emperor Wu's situation is definitely even more dangerous. Yunnan is the king of the Yun race. His strength can be called a demigod, and he's far stronger than the heaven-eating radiant tiger that occupied the ancient capital previously. Previously, we had a conflict with Yunnan and His Majesty Emperor Wu almost lost his life. This time, the Yun race is prepared. His Majesty Emperor Wu might be in greater danger. If possible, I hope Sir Shiyu can travel with us to support His Majesty Emperor Wu. I, Ji Yuncheng, will repay your kindness with all my might later. General Ji Yuncheng was extremely nervous. The dynasty had just started, and only Emperor Wu couldn't have anything happen to him. However, at this moment, General Ji Yun also felt very apologetic. Shiyu had already saved Wuling City and even helped a large group of them escape. In the end, he actually wanted the other party to take the risk. Sir Shiyu, please help. At this moment, as General Ji Yun finished speaking, beast tamers in armor were about to kneel down in unison and ask Shiyu for help. Although they didn't know who Shiyu was, through the scene just now, they knew that Shiyu was very strong. Now, perhaps only with Shiyu's help could Emperor Wu be safe and sound. The iron-eating beast core knew Yunnan's strength very well. At that time, it was them who fought Yunnan with Emperor Wu. Shiyu? Cut it out. Boom. Invisible psychic power pulled the beast tamers back one by one, making them reveal shocked expressions. The corners of Shiyu's mouth twitched. I don't like this. Since I'm already here, I'm naturally here to help. There's no need for you to request like this. Don't worry, Emperor Wu should be fine, Shiyu said. He had heard from his future aunt Ji Mengzhu that, after Emperor Wu stepped into the legendary stage, his strength improved by leaps and bounds every year. The first time he fought Yunnan, he was still suppressed, but in the second battle, he could already vaguely suppress Yunnan. In the end, they almost chased after Yunnan and beat him up. Yunnan didn't want to play anymore, so both parties started playing hide and seek. However, it couldn't be said that Emperor Wu was stronger, because from the final outcome, the winner was Yunnan. Avoiding battle and relying on the radiation poison to grind Emperor Wu to death was the strategy Yunnan chose. He clearly knew that he would definitely win and chose to fight passively. He didn't want to waste more strength. Perhaps it was also Yunnan's intelligence. This dragged on for more than 10 years. In the end, Emperor Wu's body collapsed. Instead, Yunnan became stronger, and only then did the final tragic battle happen. However, in the final battle, Yunnan even said that he had underestimated Emperor Wu and relied on self-destruction to complete the mutual destruction. As for the current time period, Emperor Wu was still at his peak. Perhaps he didn't take Yunnan's poison seriously at all and was in an incomparably stubborn period. It was probably very difficult for Yunnan to hold down such a Emperor Wu. Next, Shiyu looked at Buggy, Kai Tong, and the others. At this moment, Buggy had already recovered to its normal size of more than 100 meters to avoid exhausting its stamina too much. After Kai Tong imprisoned the soul, Buggy just put the two corpses into its spatial pocket. They would talk about cleansing later. Thank you very much. General Ji Yun thanked him excitedly. Shiyu, thank you. The young aunt Ji Mengzhu didn't know what to say. She felt that Shiyu was simply Dong Huang's second savior. However, at this moment, Shiyu's expression suddenly changed. Roar! Retract, can't take it in. Buggy's stunned voice came from the Black Ram and the Black Meteorite Yak. It was clearly just two totem corpses, but it actually couldn't be put into the spatial pocket. That shouldn't be the case. Previously, he had taken in the remains of the Black Meteorite Yak and kept it well. Am I? Beside it, Kai Tong, who was in the form of a sword spirit, also shook the sword hilt, feeling confused for Buggy. Chapter 1085 Shocking Emperor Wu for 10,000 Years, 4. 1085 Shocking Emperor Wu for 10,000 Years, 4. Boom! They weren't puzzled for long. In the next moment, the corpses of the Black Ram and the Black Meteorite Yak were directly filled with black light. A strong wave instantly came from it, shocking Buggy nearby. What erupted from the two bodies was not a powerful destructive power, but radiation fluctuations. In fact, when Buggy crushed the Black Ram and the Black Meteorite Yak just now, its body was inevitably infected with toxins. However, there was no need for Sutu to cleanse it at all. Apart from the self-healing effect, its green dragon indestructible body also had a certain cleansing effect. It directly ignored these. However, at this moment, the radiation poison that erupted from the black ram and the black meteorite yak for the second time exceeded Buggy's imagination. In just an instant, it felt a fatal threat. It definitely couldn't touch it. Buzz! Buggy directly brought Kai Tong and teleported away, fleeing towards Shi Yu and the others. Roar! Not good, a corpse came back to life. Am I? Fortunately, I got the soul. After Buggy and Kai Tong flashed to Shi Yu's side and shouted, Shi Yu immediately shouted, "Everyone, don't resist." At that moment, before everyone could react, the entire iron-eating beast core, including Shi Yu, was directly teleported further away by Buggy. After everyone came back to their senses, they were first stunned. Then, they looked into the distance in shock. Black mist spread out from the place where the corpses of the black ram and the black meteorite yak were just now. Space ripples kept shaking, and countless cracks appeared in the sky, releasing unknown magnetic field radiation. Rip! The ground instantly turned pitch black. In the power that crushed everything, a terrifying aura rose. A ridiculously huge guy outlined a corner of its figure with a black shadow that covered the sky. With the help of the corpses of the black meteorite yak and the black ram, its image gradually outlined. This was like a deer-shaped creature. Its huge intertwined horns were like continuous mountains, and its entire body was filled with dazzling black light. Just looking at it, it was as if its heart would sink into the abyss in the next moment. Its body was incomparably huge, like a city. It was made of prismatic metal. On these metals, white and black gradually changed, emitting a terrifying demon god aura. It was extremely oppressive. Because its body was too huge, its upper body was directly hidden in the black clouds. Only its two terrifying eyes could be seen through the clouds. Yun, at this moment, when they saw this huge monster and sensed the terrifying aura it emitted, the pupils of the iron-eating beast tamers of the iron-eating beast core who were teleported further away by Buggy constricted. Their faces were filled with disbelief. Yunnan! Ji Yuncheng and Ji Mengzhu said in disbelief at the same time. The king of the Yun race, the totem half-god, Yunnan. At that moment, these beast tamers knew why Shi Yu had told them not to resist. It was because Yunnan had just descended, and a large area around it had directly become a silent place. If they didn't evacuate in time, just the radiation spreading from Yunnan's body was enough to fester the lives of these guys who weren't even at the totem level. At this moment, the beast tamers were stunned, unable to understand why Yunnan would appear here. Didn't they say that Emperor Wu might be surrounded by Yunnan? Roar! In the sky above everyone, the green dragon Buggy circled in the sky and looked at Yunnan in front of it in anger. It finally understood why it couldn't put the corpses of the two totems into the spatial pocket. So this big guy was behind this. At that moment, Yunnan's appearance completely exceeded everyone's expectations. Even Ji Yuncheng's eyes kept swaying. Even the number one person below the legendary level would be shaken when facing a real demigod, and a powerful demigod like Yunnan. Demigods were not in the same dimension as ordinary totems and top-notch totems at all. Be it using legendary resources or training a super race skill to transcendent, they were all considered normal totems. As for top-notch totems, they were strengthened by more legendary resources on the foundation of normal totems, or multiple super skills were trained to transcendent and could be combined into profundities. These were actually understandable for top-notch beast tamers. It wasn't that difficult to deal with. However, at the demigod level, that was already another level of battle power. Compared to a single super skill, the control of normal totems and top-notch totems over super skills was above 64. Very few exceeded 100, and demigods basically mastered super skills above 256. In Shi Yu's opinion, it was equivalent to one adding 0.64 times, while the other had to add 0.256 times. Moreover, on the basis of adding 256 points, this creature still had to combine its skills with its race to optimize and evolve before it could be considered a demigod. This was an overwhelming advantage. The growth brought by the upgrade of the race skill to this extent was unimaginably powerful. The beast tamers and iron-eating beasts present looked at the incomparably huge Yunnan, their eyes filled with fear. They took a step back in unison. Oh no! Yunnan! We actually need support ourselves. Your Majesty Emperor Wu! Some beast tamers looked at Yunnan with their scalps numb. In the clouds, Yunnan's eyes looked over casually and landed on Buggy circling in the sky. Chapter 1086 Shocking Emperor Wu for 10,000 Years, 5. 1086 Shocking Emperor Wu for 10,000 Years, 5. This was its goal. It's you? You killed my 2 subordinates. Its words directly made the hearts of the beast tamers present skip a beat. They also raised their heads slightly in unison and looked at the green dragon in the sky above them. They instantly understood that Yunnan was here to avenge his subordinates. Because Shiyu had sent his pet to kill the black ram and the black meteorite yak, Yunnan personally descended and came here. Set up the array. Prepare to fight! General Ji Yun shouted, his forehead covered in sweat. Yes! The beast tamers and pets of the iron-eating beast corps had just removed the golden domain. At this moment, they encountered such a dangerous moment and had no choice but to mobilize their army skills again. However, be it Shiyu or Yunnan, they ignored this group of people. Yunnan asked the green dragon Buggy. As Buggy's beast tamer, Shiyu also asked Yunnan. Hey, Yunnan, where's my cow, where's my sheep? An exasperated voice came from the ground. A figure couldn't take it anymore and floated in the sky with the help of invisible psychic power, staring at Yunnan. Under the breeze, Shiyu's clothes and short hair fluttered in the wind. Words that stunned both parties came out of his mouth. Yunnan? Master, it should have descended here with the bodies of those 2 totems. It's a skill that's not in the records, Ling analyzed. I can tell. Shiyu was speechless. Yunnan had such a skill? Shiyu felt a lingering fear. This was because in this space and time, he had brought the black meteorite yak's body with him for a long time. If he knew that Yunnan had such a skill, he wouldn't have brought it along no matter what. Good thing it was delicious. He might have eaten all the black meteorite yak before Yunnan revived. The black meteorite yak and black ram they had just obtained were directly sacrificed by Yunnan? Sir Shiyu, be careful. That guy is terrifyingly strong, General Ji Yun said solemnly. It has mastered an unbelievable skill. Even Emperor Wu can't take it head-on. In addition, no matter what, it's best not to let the pet come into contact with it. Yes. Ji Mengzhu looked around nervously. Yunnan had actually descended here. This meant that Emperor Wu didn't fight it. Then where was Emperor Wu? Now, it wasn't them supporting Emperor Wu at all. Instead, they urgently needed the support of Emperor Wu. I know. Shiyu nodded. At that moment, Yunnan had no mood to care about others at all. It was all focused on the green dragon Buggy. It had paid a huge price to descend here with its injuries just to take away this green dragon. Only in this way would its 3 dead totems not be a loss. Little worm, are you already prepared to withstand my anger by attacking my subordinates? Yunnan stared at the green dragon Buggy and directly attacked. Quasi-divine skill, Annihilation. The ultimate strengthening skill of its Yun race, the so-called radiation virus, was one of the manifestations of this skill. If the skill hit, it would definitely cause irreversible injuries. Even if an injured person used legendary medicine, used divine medicine to eliminate it, obtained strong treatment, and obtained strong cleansing, it would only recover the appearance and suppress the power of destruction. The true power of destruction would remain in the attacker's body from the beginning to the end, unable to be completely cleansed. This was the law. A colorless mist wrapped around Yunnan's entire body, and the sound of laws that resounded through the world erupted. Yunnan's body changed at the same time in the attack. The black metal prism all over his body flowed and turned into a huge beast form standing on 2 feet. He stretched out a huge palm with 3 claws and pinched the green dragon Buggy. An earth-shattering divine might also wrapped around this pinch. Boom! Under the deterrence, the iron-eating beast core golden domain just condensed before collapsing unstable. Everyone's pupils constricted, unable to understand this terrifying power. Not good. Ji Yuncheng was shocked. He didn't expect Yunnan to use his final ultimate move the moment he came up. But that made sense. As an existence that could easily kill a Yun clan general, the Green Divine Dragon was worth Yunnan's treatment. However, could this Green Dragon resist Yunnan? General Ji Yun couldn't judge in his heart. At the same time, in the face of this shocking squeeze, Buggy suddenly fell into memories. Half a year ago, no, even longer ago, all of them had also faced a similar attack from Yunnan. Buggy still remembered the life-and-death threat it felt at that time. They knew that they were unable to resist and could only take out the Dragon God protection and use the Blue Sea ruins to escape. But now, Buggy didn't feel any life-and-death crisis when facing this attack. With its current strength, it indeed couldn't deal with Yunnan alone. It could only be considered a top-notch totem. However, it still had teammates. And Beast Tamer. Roar. G. Beast Tamer, save me, Susu, save me. In the sky, Buggy shouted. The Annihilation Palm attacked, and a dragon roar resounded through the world. The expressions of General Ji Yun, Ji Mengzhu, and the other beast tamers of the iron-eating beast core changed drastically. But in the next moment, something unexpected happened. A huge black summoning array appeared in midair under Shiyu's feet. Legend Array. At this critical moment, Shiyu summoning did not attract Yunnan's attention at all, even if the array blocked the direction of its attack. Chapter 1087 Shocking Emperor Wu for 10,000 Years, 6. 1087 Shocking Emperor Wu for 10,000 Years, 6. A mere legend beast tamer. Legend? The color of Shiyu's summoning array also stunned General Ji Yunhai and the others of the iron-eating beast core. They originally thought that the green dragon was at the totem level. Shiyu was also a legendary beast tamer like Emperor Wu. However, the color of Shiyu's summoning array was only legend? How was this possible? What was going on? Wasn't the green dragon Shiyu's pet? At this moment, they gradually couldn't understand. In the next moment, they were even more confused. Yunnan. In the distance, the void tore. Emperor Wu burned his blood essence and rushed over, letting out a heaven-shaking roar. As he had expected, Yunnan came to attack the iron-eating beast core. However, the situation here was a little different from what Emperor Wu had expected. Emperor Wu, who had just descended in the distance, and the beast tamers of the iron-eating beast core were suddenly stunned. They looked at this scene in the distance in confusion. At this moment, a strong blue light condensed on the black summoning array under Shiyu's feet. The light of the ocean spread, and a shocking aura wave swept out. A noble figure gradually appeared from the light. On the huge black summoning array, behind Shiyu, a huge water elemental creature 100 meters tall appeared in the sky in front of the green dragon. She looked like a mermaid. She had beautiful blue long hair, bright blue eyes, beautiful appearance, and a body made of water. Her aura was incomparably noble, and she had an otherworldly aura. What kind of creature was this? In a short instant, countless people were puzzled. However, the holy, pure, and clear fluctuations emitted by Susu were enough to move anyone. Even Yunnan, who was opposite, was slightly stunned. In the face of this attack, Shiyu's gaze was strict. Have you asked me before you tried to attack my pet? For the first time, Shiyu's voice was valued by Yunnan. At this moment, it understood two things. First, the green dragon that had killed its two subordinates was this human's pet. Second, this summoned water elemental life form was also this human's pet. But so what? Roar! Yunnan let out an angry roar. At the same time, Susu's power erupted. Buzz! As if its soul had left its body, a blue sea cleansing spirit that looked similar to Susu directly covered the original body and erupted with a huge energy wave. Demigod level, sea cleansing spirit. Susu had accumulated 2 demigod-level sea cleansing spirits that could be said to be comparable to quasi-divine skills in half a year. If Shi Yu and the others had anything that could resist Yunnan, then Susu's demigod-level sea cleansing spirit was undoubtedly the most effective. Crush it! Under Shi Yu's voice, this sea cleansing spirit gradually expanded and gradually enlarged. Soon, it expanded to a height of more than 1,000 meters. It was majestic and spectacular, corresponding to Yunnan from afar. The holy purification aura on its body was even richer, and the energy fluctuations as deep as the ocean shocked Yunnan for the first time. Buzz! The sound of laws sounded. Half-god! Yunnan's expression suddenly changed drastically. It never expected the creature opposite to suddenly erupt with such strong strength. What's that? In the distance, Emperor Wu's expression also upheaval. Boom! Under the shocked expressions of the beast tamers of the iron-eating beast core below, Susu's huge palm directly smashed towards Yunnan's huge palm. Right on the heels of that, a scene that shocked everyone to the extreme appeared. The 2 huge palms collided. In the next moment, a sizzling sound came from Yunnan's palm. Then, right on the heels of that, white smoke that was like a mist of ice spread from the huge water palm. At this moment, Susu's palm was like a monstrous tsunami that swept over, instantly devouring Yunnan's palm. Then, the water palm kept enlarging, covering the world, and swung at Yunnan's main body. It was completely countered. Facing such a ridiculous counterattack, even Yunnan instantly revealed a panicked expression. In the next moment, roar! A miserable cry sounded. Yunnan's huge body seemed to have been splashed with a layer of water, and this layer of water was very strong. In an instant, it flipped Yunnan, who was like a mountain peak, over. Moreover, the water of the sea cleansing was like boiling water. White mist kept blooming on Yunnan's body, interweaving with terrifying power. Ah! On the ground, the king of totems, the half-god Yunnan, screamed in pain. His miserable shout spread in all directions. Boom! A huge dust mist shot into the sky and filled the sky. At that moment, no matter who it was, they could see Yunnan's miserable appearance. Ji Yunchong, Ji Mengzhu, and the others opened their mouths when they saw this. It was difficult to understand, and their brains gradually lost their ability to think. Yunnan was defeated in one hit? An attack that even Emperor Wu didn't dare to take head-on was directly blasted back. In the distance, Emperor Wu, who had just teleported over, froze when he saw Yunnan directly defeated by this mysterious water elemental creature. What happened? Wait, something was wrong. At this moment, Ji Mengzhu looked confused. Didn't Shi Yu say that he couldn't resist the Yun race, so he came to form an alliance with Dong Huang? Then what was going on? It's not working? In the sky, Shi Yu looked at Yunnan, who still had the strength to struggle, and frowned. Roar! When Yunnan shouted miserably, it rolled its body and swept its gaze over again. It was no longer as impressive as before. It looked at Shi Yu, the blue sea sprite Susu, and the green dragon Buggy in shock. Chapter 1088 Shocking Emperor Wu for 10,000 Years, 7. 1088 Shocking Emperor Wu for 10,000 Years, 7. Who are you? Who are you? Yunnan was shocked to discover that not only was its quasi-divine skill suppressed in that attack just now, but the attack also landed on it, causing it even more damage than Emperor Wu's attack. At this moment, its body, which was already covered in injuries, was already completely injured. Yunnan really couldn't understand what that attack was about. It had been a long time since he had suffered such a serious injury. At the same time, Yunnan suddenly sensed that the aura of Emperor Wu had also appeared in the distance. He was even more panicked. Not good. TCH'd in the sky, Shi Yu looked at Yunnan. No way. The full-strength attack of the demigod-level sea cleansing spirit only heavily injure Yunnan? Susu had saved up for half a year only to save 2. Could the next one kill Yunnan? Shi Yu wasn't confident. He planned to use other pets to consume Yunnan first. He could sense that at this moment, Yunnan at most had 70% of the strength of Yunnan in the Heavenly Sword ancient nation. From the looks of it, not only had Emperor Wu not grown up, but Yunnan wasn't at his peak at this moment. However, if Shi Yu wanted to fight, Yunnan didn't seem to want to anymore. After a round of confrontation, Yunnan's heart was shocked to the extreme. It was continuously attacked by Emperor Wu and unknown beast tamers. At this moment, its heart was heavily injured. Yunnan had no idea that Su Su only had 2 attacks just now. In addition, Emperor Wu had already arrived. In this situation, it crazily suppressed its urge. How could it still think about the starry sky green dragon? It directly rolled its body and instantly teleported thousands of meters away. It circled around Emperor Wu and turned to run. Woo 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 woo. I'll definitely come back. Yunnan let out a miserable roar. As long as there was life, there was hope. Yunnan chose to retreat strategically. Wait, wait! Seeing this, the beast tamers of the Dong Huang Iron-Eating Beast Corps, who had always regarded Yunnan as their final enemy, were stunned. They widened their eyes and revealed incredulous expressions. Yunnan didn't dare to fight, ran away. What a joke! Didn't they say that Yunnan was the strongest demigod? They looked at Shi Yu in the sky in disbelief. Yunnan was chased away? The beast tamers who were still in fear of Yunnan's descent just now completely didn't expect the situation to change so suddenly. Who exactly was this Shi Yu? And what was that water element life form? Why could it suppress Yunnan? Roar! At that moment, seeing that Yunnan was even suppressed, Buggy was abnormally excited and immediately wanted to chase after him. Want to run after swallowing the sheep and cow? No way! Sword Spirit Kai Tong instantly flew into position around Shi Yu. Buggy immediately prepared to bring Shi Yu to chase after it. Senior Emperor Wu. As he prepared to pursue, Shi Yu sent a voice transmission to Emperor Wu. At this moment, Shi Yu had long noticed Emperor Wu in the distance. After noticing Emperor Wu, Shi Yu finally knew why Yunnan was so weak. Before it descended, it had definitely been almost exhausted by Emperor Wu. A legend. An expert like an ancient legendary, and a genius who was a modern legend. At this moment, they finally met after crossing 2,000 years of space and time. Do you want to go together? Sword Spirit surrounded Shi Yu, and behind him were the huge blue sea sprite and the starry sky green dragon. In the distance, at this moment, Emperor Wu Dong no longer had the stability of a legendary beast tamer. Even when he fought Yunnan, Emperor Wu had never been so shocked. He looked at Shi Yu in front of him solemnly. This person. What was going on? Could it be that he was the one Yunnan mentioned? However, did he even defeat Yunnan just now? What a joke! The corners of Emperor Wu's mouth twitched. He was very certain that he had seen the color of Shi Yu's summoning array with his own eyes. That was clearly at the legend level. On this day, when he saw Shi Yu's, his perception of strength began the first step. He wanted to know where this person came from. Chapter 1089 Not from this space and time, 1. 1089 Not from this space and time, 1. Your Majesty Emperor Wu! At this moment, the beast tamers of the Iron-Eating Beast Corps and Ji Mengzhu were very shocked. Not only was Yunnan, who wanted to attack them, forced back by a single attack, but he also chose to escape. At that moment, following Shi Yu's invitation, they realized that the Emperor Wu they had been searching for had finally appeared. Everyone couldn't help but look over in joy. Come on, Emperor Wu said. In the face of Shi Yu's invitation, Emperor Wu chose to pursue with him. Although he couldn't figure out what was going on, Yunnan's condition was indeed worse. Moreover, the direction Yunnan escaped in was far from Dong Huang and the crowd. This made Emperor Wu even less worried. Right on the heels of that, the beast tamers of the Iron-Eating Beast Corps saw a historical scene. A green dragon tore through the air. Shi Yu stood on its head and chased after Yunnan. At the side, Emperor Wu flew in the air. Both parties were on the left and right, making Yunnan, who was further ahead, howl and curse. He escaped even faster. One was a legendary emperor that the iron-eating beast core was extremely familiar with, and the other was a super expert that had descended from the sky like a divine weapon and was recruited by the country. Even if the opponent was a demigod, Yunnan, they had never been so at ease. A moment later, Shi Yu and Emperor Wu chased. This again. Emperor Wu couldn't help but say. With a boom, the fleeing Yunnan's entire body was filled with shocking light. It was as if it had self-destructed or been swallowed. Its body was sucked into the alternate space from the inside out. At the same time, a shocking dark wave bloomed from its body. Roar! I won't let you off. Right on the heels of that, Yunnan disappeared in front of Shi Yu and Emperor Wu. The strong explosive wave made them retreat together. In midair, Shi Yu's expression was uncertain. It should be a spatial skill that can only be escaped by sacrificing a certain subordinate. Be it itself or its subordinates, the consumption is huge. Spatial attainments were even above buggy. No wonder it could modify the Black Space Divine Dragon. Shi Yu was not surprised that Yunnan had successfully escaped. He had chased after him this time because he didn't think he could successfully defeat Yunnan. Instead, he wanted to consume some energy or hammer a few more fragments. If he really wanted to capture Yunnan, he had to be more prepared. Your Majesty, you fought it just now, right? Did you collect its fragments? At this moment, Emperor Wu, who was standing in the air, looked at Shi Yu and said, yes. In that case, don't chase after it or look for it. Let it leave first. It can't escape. What do you mean? Emperor Wu said. Its current state is unprecedentedly weak. It's the best time to completely kill it. Shi Yu said, it's impossible to succeed. Yunnan has mastered the super self-destruction skill. If it's forced into a corner, we'll all die. As an elemental life form, it still has hope of reviving. At most, it will wait for thousands of years to revive again, and if we die, we will completely die. I don't want to die with it. Shi Yu smiled slightly. He wasn't an iron-headed kid like Emperor Wu. A demigod-level self-destruction could probably directly blow up his body and soul. The undying fruit was useless. Repelling Yunnan just now was the limit Shi Yu could do. He really didn't dare to let Yunnan fall into a desperate situation. Otherwise, the outcome of Emperor Wu in history would be Shi Yu's outcome. I just returned to Donghuang and haven't prepared enough. Since Senior Emperor Wu has obtained the meteorite fragments, it's easy. Lend me a few meteorite fragments later. Give me some time to study them. I can develop tools to locate Yunnan and sealing tools to seal its self-destruction ability. He might even be able to capture Yunnan alive. Emperor Wu was stunned. Who exactly are you? Why are you helping Donghuang? Emperor Wu felt that the young man in front of him knew Yunnan better than him and the iron-eating beast tribe. In terms of strength, it was probably not weaker than him, or even stronger. However, he really couldn't see through Shi Yu. Me? I've been training in the West since I was young and only returned recently. I was originally responding to the national conscription in Wuling City, but I didn't expect to encounter such a bunch of things. Shi Yu laughed. Wu Dong, don't believe him. When Emperor Wu looked at Shi Yu, the voice of a pet in his body sounded. This guy? There are fluctuations that are rejected by this space and time on his body and his pet. This person and his pet might not belong to this space and time. You're lying. You're not from this space and time, Emperor Wu said. Who exactly are you? Shi Yu was slightly stunned. He looked at Emperor Wu in surprise. Shi Yu originally thought that if he transmigrated to the past space and time, among the 5 emperors of Donghuang, only Emperor Shi of Time or Emperor Kong of Space could tell that he wasn't from this space and time. He didn't expect that Emperor Wu also had this ability. Was it his, or had he contracted a special pet of the time or space element? Has it been seen through? Forget it, there's nothing to hide anyway. Shi Yu smiled and said, then I'll tell the truth. You can understand that I'm from a future parallel space where Emperor Wu dynasty has already been destroyed and Emperor Wu has already died in battle. Of course, since I'm already here, the history of this space and time might have to be rewritten. When Shi Yu finished speaking, Emperor Wu widened his eyes in shock. Chapter 1090 Not from this space and time, 2. 1090 Not from this space and time, 2. The pet that reminded him just now was also shocked. This guy came from the future. What a joke! I'm an archaeologist from Donghuang. I actually came this time to take a look at the local customs of Donghuang and come to do archaeology. Emperor Wu didn't know if Shi Yu was telling the truth, but this was too ridiculous. At this moment, he has redefined archaeology. It was even more ridiculous than Shi Yu defeating Yunnan in one hit. You're saying that I'll die in battle? Emperor Wu dynasty will be destroyed? Yes, under normal circumstances, Senior Emperor Wu, you would have perished with Yunnan, just like what I said just now. Therefore, I don't recommend forcing Yunnan so tightly, Shi Yu said. Emperor Wu's expression changed slightly. If what you say is true, you didn't come here just to help me, right? Shi Yu said, that's right. I also took a fancy to the two things on Senior Emperor Wu and want to take away some extinct resources. What? The development experience of the top-notch fusion talent, as well as the fusion skill you created, Your Majesty Emperor Wu. Emperor Wu was silent, but he felt that it was only natural. These things were indeed the most unique on him. Of course, in exchange, I'll assist Your Majesty in killing Yunnan. In addition, Senior Emperor Wu, you can't fight Yunnan like this. Its attack has the characteristic of being incurable and unable to be cleansed. Even if Senior Emperor Wu feels that the injuries on your body have been treated and cleansed, that's only on the surface. Actually, the damage it caused to you has always been hidden in your body. When a certain time comes, it will erupt again. This is also why you'll lose to Yunnan in the future. As for me, apart from helping you kill Yunnan, I can also help you completely cleanse this kind of injury. It should be considered an equivalent exchange, right? The fusion skill was a super skill manual developed by Emperor Wu himself according to his top-notch fusion talent. Only Emperor Wu mastered it. After the Emperor Wu dynasty was destroyed, this skill was severed. Shi Yu had also learned about it from Aunt Ji Mengzhu. This skill, just like its name, could allow the two pets to fuse and evolve for a short period of time. It was similar to the fusion talent of the Donghuang sequence trainer, Zhu Ming. However, one needed the cooperation of the beast tamer, and the other needed the pet to rely on its own strength. Of course, the difficulty of learning this skill was also very high. Among Emperor Wu's pets, it was said that only Zhongxian and the Nether Snake had mastered this skill. It was specially developed by Emperor Wu to evolve the four holy beasts, Black Tortoise. Its goal was to let the divine turtle Zhongxian and the undead Nether Snake fuse and evolve. The reason why Shi Yu took a fancy to this skill was because the green dragon had been cultivated. Moreover, Buggy had mastered skills like the four holy clones, so it naturally had the intention of cultivating the white tiger, black tortoise, and vermilion bird. There were still so many vacancies in the second team. Every time he contracted an additional pet, the more attribute feedback he could obtain. In today's history, apart from him, the closest to nurturing a green dragon was definitely the Dragon Emperor. If there was anyone closest to nurturing a black tortoise, it was undoubtedly Emperor Wu. The fusion skill was the key to nurturing the turtle snake black tortoise. No matter who you are, since you helped Donghuang avoid the damage of the Yun clan totem, I'll thank you to the greatest extent, Emperor Wu said. 6th year in Emperor Wu dynasty. Donghuang and the Yun race had a second large-scale conflict. In this battle, the half-god of the Yun clan and the 12 totem generals of the Yun clan all fought. Among them, 3 totems were killed by Shi Yu, 8 totems were heavily injured by Emperor Wu, and a totem that intercepted the reinforcements at the border of Donghuang was urgently transferred back after Yunnan discovered that the 3 totem generals had died in battle. Under the situation where the half-god Yunnan was also chased away, it could be said that Donghuang's side completely won. Your Majesty Emperor Wu, Sir Shi Yu. At this moment, the Iron-Eating Beast Corps at the border of Donghuang had already met the Iron-Eating Beast Corps in the Yun nation. In the army, Ji Mengzhu and the others couldn't help but have happy expressions when they saw Emperor Wu and Shi Yu return together. "Your Majesty, where's Yunnan?" At this moment, Emperor Wu had already recovered his appearance as a normal person. It was considered normal for him to be more than 2 meters tall among the body-forging beast tamers. He glanced at Shi Yu, who was yawning behind him, and said, "Yunnan escaped. Return to Dong Huang first and enter a battle state. Soon, we'll attack the Yun nation." "Yes." General Ji Yunhai immediately said. "Your Majesty, are your injuries all right?" "Shi Yu, what about you? Are you injured?" Ji Mengzhu came over and asked about Emperor Wu and Shi Yu's injuries. "I'm fine." Emperor Wu shook his head. "I'm fine." Shi Yu chuckled and said, "But Emperor Wu has injuries. He's forcing himself." "Emperor Wu?" Ji Mengzhu, "Ah. But don't worry, I have a way to treat Emperor Wu," Shi Yu said. Emperor Wu glanced at Shi Yu again. Did he really expect Yunnan's attack to affect him that much? At this moment, in the eyes of Emperor Wu, Shi Yu was very much like a medicine seller in the martial world. He even said that he was sick even if he wasn't sick. Although he also felt that Yunnan's attack was indeed not that simple. It was even very likely that they were exposed this time because of the remnant power of Yunnan on their bodies. "Then, I'll leave it to you," Ji Mengzhu said. Chapter 1091, 1091 Not from this space and time, 3. 1091 Not from this space and time, 3. By the way, Emperor Wu, Sir Shi Yu is a beast tamer recruited from all over Wuling City. According to the rules, you need to personally assess those at the legend level. It's all thanks to Sir Shi Yu rushing over to save us this time. Otherwise, not only would Wuling City encounter a calamity, but my father's side would probably be very dangerous. I know. When we return to Dong Huang, I'll thank Brother Shi Yu well. Emperor Wu nodded. However, how was this a beast tamer recruited by the country? This was clearly a super expert who didn't belong to this space and time. If he wasn't wrong, that green dragon was the real green dragon. And that water element life form that had mastered a quasi-divine skill and could cleanse the power of Yunnan. Its identity was definitely extraordinary. Green dragon and quasi-divine skills were his highest pursuit. Now, he had yet to complete either, but this Shi Yu had completed them. No wonder, although it was only at the legend level, its battle power was comparable to a legendary. Future beast tamers were also terrifying. Although it was said to be returning to Dong Huang, it was actually returning to the border. The iron-eating beast army, Emperor Wu, Shi Yu, and the others were temporarily resting at the border. In the military camp, Emperor Wu invited Shi Yu to meet again. Emperor Wu took out the 19 meteorite fragments of different sizes he had obtained this time and placed them on the table. With these, you can locate Yunnan's location. Also, develop tools to deal with it. Yes. Shi Yu nodded and said, but there's no need for so much. Just give me 10. As for the rest, Your Majesty Emperor Wu, you can use it to evolve your iron-eating beast first. After it evolves into a demon god iron-eating beast, it should be considered one of the best among the top totem battle power. At the same time, after fusing with it, its attack resistance to Yunnan will be stronger. It will be easier to fight Yunnan in the future. All right. Emperor Wu nodded and said, I heard it from Mengzhu just now. Brother Shi Yu, the resource you want should be the iron-eating beast inscription evolution resource, right? I heard from her that you also have an iron-eating beast. You came to Wuling City to respond to the national conscription for this. Yes. Shi Yu smiled and nodded. This is what I need the most. If possible, please pack hundreds of copies for me to take away. Evolution ingredients. I'd like a few hundred too. The corners of Emperor Wu's mouth twitched. Dong Huang doesn't have more than 100 of each of the 8 evolution metals. There are even less than 10 left. So few. Shi Yu was stunned. Emperor Wu said, this is a stable evolution ingredient of an overlord race. This number is already very terrifying. It's all the resources of Dong Huang. I've thought about your request just now. I can agree to it. As long as you can assist me in completely killing Yunnan, I can give you the fusion technique, the development experience of the top-notch fusion talent, or any resources. Really? Shiyu was happy. Well, next, I'll get Mengzhu to get the best inscription evolution metal for you and let your iron-eating beast undergo perfect evolution. That's good. Shiyu nodded. At the moment, only 5 of the 11 or 9 original inscriptions were carved. They were inscriptions with spatial, wood, dark, lightning, and spirit attributes. There were still 4 to carve. After a fusion, there were 4 more perfect and super powerful top-notch super skills. 11 cried out the whole day, waiting for these 4 skills to surpass Kai Tong. Also, Emperor Wu said, you shouldn't stay in this space and time for too long, right? I can sense that this space and time are slowly rejecting you. It shouldn't be long before you. Shiyu nodded and said, indeed. Fortunately, I'm not strong, so the rejection isn't strong. I can still stay for a while. During this period of time, let's prepare well and try to destroy Yunnan before I leave. Emperor Wu was silent. I'll also give you the teaching method and corresponding resources of the fusion skill later. I'll also give you the development experience of the top-notch fusion talent. However, I can't guarantee that you can definitely use it after you obtain it. The fusion skill is a skill I developed for the turtle race and the snake race. It's not perfect. At the moment, only these 2 races have the highest compatibility in learning it. Shiyu said, that's alright, because I want the fusion skill, because I also want to nurture a black tortoise to give it a try. Emperor Wu raised his head and looked at Shiyu. Looks like your ambition is not small. It's not enough that you've already cultivated a perfect green dragon, but you still have thoughts about the black tortoise. Shiyu smiled. Senior, don't you also want all 4 holy beasts? Emperor Wu said, so I haven't succeeded in any of them. It doesn't matter. It's not a precious skill anyway. As for the experience for using the top-notch fusion talent, it's the same. Although I don't know what you're using it for, it's almost impossible to develop the same top-notch fusion talent with my development method. I was able to develop the fusion talent a second time thanks to a fortuitous encounter in my early years. I used the same method to teach other beast tamers who also mastered the fusion talent, but they can't do it to my level anymore. Shiyu said, what fortuitous encounter? Did you need any resources to assist? On Shiyu's side, if he wanted to replicate the top-notch fusion talent in the modern era, the resources he could provide were only the World Tree Fruit that increased comprehension and the Body Control Talent Bead. However, if Emperor Wu said that he needed any other resources, he could also think of a way. Chapter 1092 Not from this space and time, 4. 1092 Not from this space and time, 4. Emperor Wu said, looks like you don't know how my top-notch fusion talent came about. But that's right. Apart from my pet and General Ji Yun, no one else knows this information. When I was weak, I once obtained a divine-level resource called the Wish Stone. Have you heard of it? No, Shiyu shook his head. The Stone of Wish should be a creation of a certain god. It can satisfy all the wishes of the user. It sounds very powerful, but the principle of it is an exchange. It's like a contract with a demon. If you obtain something, you have to give something. At that time, I was a slave raised by the totem clans. I originally wanted invincible power to overthrow the rule of the totem clans, but I couldn't afford the price of such a wish. Therefore, the wish I made was to have godlike talent and potential. This time, the wish succeeded, and what I paid. From then on, I only have 38 years left in my lifespan. Moreover, my lifespan can't be increased in any way. This is the law that has to be followed in transactions with the Stone of Wishes. Even after I became a legendary, my lifespan never increased. The ability of that stone should be the use of the power of the natural order. It's very difficult to break. I don't want to break it either. I'm actually very grateful for this stone. If not for it, I might have died in the mouths of the ferocious beasts long ago. Even the entire Dong Huang might only be an amusement park for the totem clans. Therefore, it can be said that thanks to the talent and potential gifted by the Stone of Wishes, I was able to successfully develop a top-notch fusion talent. Emperor Wu looked at Shi Yu. At this moment, Shi Yu fell into deep thought. He looked up at Emperor Wu, wanting to know if what Emperor Wu said was true. But soon, Shi Yu felt that what Emperor Wu said was very likely true. After all, the actions of Emperor Wu, who didn't care about his life and wanted to completely destroy Yunnan and the totem clans, were something that many people really couldn't understand in the historical records. A legendary beast tamer had a lifespan of hundreds of years no matter what. There was no need to be so anxious and persistent to fight a demigod. However, if this legendary beast tamer didn't have much time to live, it was understandable that he wanted to clean up all the threats of the faction he had established as much as possible in his lifetime. If it was true, Shi Yu felt that this was his greatest gain from transmigrating this time. He finally knew why Emperor Wu was so anxious to kill Yunnan. Apart from wanting to eliminate the threat of Yunnan, he also wanted to use the power of the meteorite fragment to become stronger and clean up more enemies. You were really wronged, Shi Yu said. After all, even now, a bunch of people were cursing Emperor Wu for constantly fighting and consuming the country's strength. Some people said that if Emperor Wu was willing to develop wretchedly, with the deterrence of a legendary beast tamer, Emperor Wu dynasty could last at least another 100 years. Perhaps it could last until the next legendary genius appeared. In short, Emperor Wu could be said to be very controversial. Of course, Shi Yu was not interested in evaluating historical figures because he didn't know the truth at all and didn't want to evaluate it. If he had to evaluate it, Emperor Wu's pet, Zhong Xian, had given him so many resources. Emperor Wu would definitely be a wise monarch. Emperor Wu? Sigh. Shi Yu shook his head. Forget it, he should give Emperor Wu another gift. When he returned, he would get Buggy to record Lost History 002, Emperor Wu Legendary. Just like proving Mu Huiyin and Ice Dragon's names, he would also clear Emperor Wu's name. Hey, did they forget to update Mu Huiyin's legend? Chapter 1093, 1093-11's Evolution. 1093-11's Evolution. Emperor Wu's situation exceeded Shi Yu's expectations. Shi Yu originally thought that the culprit behind Emperor Wu's death was Yunnan's law injury. In that case, actually, with Susu's strongest cleansing, it could still be removed. However, Shi Yu didn't expect that apart from Yunnan's negative buff, Emperor Wu also had a law curse from a divine-level domain. Lifespan was fixed. This could already be said to be a negative curse. Susu could currently cleanse the negative buffs of the demigod level, but the divine level. Shi Yu estimated that it would be difficult. Moreover, the form of this curse was also very strange. Even if the sea cleansing spirit reached the divine level, it was still a question if it could be cleansed. However, in the end, it was still because his strength was insufficient. Otherwise, if he directly let 11 onto the yin-yang millstone, any power of laws could be obliterated. The premise was that 11 could control the power of the yin-yang millstone to obliterate the negative laws without accidentally injuring Emperor Wu. And now, clearly, it couldn't. He would die if he tried. Therefore, when the time comes, you will still die. Shi Yu looked at Emperor Wu and said. Emperor Wu said, actually, it's nothing. I'm already mentally prepared. Under normal circumstances, you would die in Yunnan's self-destruction. If history changes, what do you think? Emperor Wu stood up and said, of course it's to charge into the mythical domain. Perhaps after stepping into the mythical domain, there will be a trace of life. To put it bluntly, apart from wanting to eliminate a threat for Dong Huang, I also want to use its power to nurture battle and break through to the divine level. Unfortunately, the rules on Blue Planet are incomplete. There's no hope for myths in the end, unless you leave Blue Planet and search for an opportunity in the starry sky. Shi Yu shook his head. Then, he raised his head and said, or, seal yourself and stop your life from flowing. Wait for the mythical revival era thousands of years later to awaken and find an opportunity to break through. Shi Yu shrugged. The stronger one was, the more different the scenery they saw. It was known that the mythical creatures that had not left Blue Planet in the mythical era had sealed their life activities and slept on Blue Planet, waiting for the mythical revival. Then, he felt that this theory could also be used on legendary-level creatures. As long as they found a way, those legendary and demigods could completely seal themselves and wait for the Blue Planet's laws to recover before coming back. It didn't seem impossible. Shiyu could already imagine that after the mythical revival, gods might not be the only ones revived. Perhaps powerful ancient demigods sleeping in the ruins would also awaken one after another. Not all the sealed ancient experts might have died. Unfortunately, I've tried. In any sealed state, my life will still flow away, Emperor Wu said. Emperor Wu said, "You're very powerful." I'm only saying this because I suddenly feel a little emotional. Seeing your strength, I'm more at ease with the future of the human race. The history of the human race is the history of suffering, but even if there will still be suffering, a powerful beast tamer like you will ultimately appear. That's true, Shiyu shook his head and said, forget it. If you can find the mythical path and live to the future, you'll realize that not only are humans suffering, but the entire Blue Planet is also having difficulties. There are many sufferings. Otherwise, I wouldn't have come here to find resources to become stronger. The good days were still ahead. If the Abyss Evil God, the Space Worm, and the others made a comeback, they would all die. Emperor Wu? Your Majesty Emperor Wu. Shiyu. Are you guys there? At this moment, Ji Mengzhu's voice suddenly came from the outside world. Come in. As Emperor Wu's voice fell, Ji Mengzhu entered. She looked at Emperor Wu and Shiyu in the room and said, Your Majesty Emperor Wu, the various evolution metals of the iron-eating beast have been brought over. Emperor Wu looked at Shiyu. Shiyu also looked at the ancient panda senior and immediately smiled. I only want fire, earth, water, and wind evolution metals. Ji Mengzhu nodded repeatedly. The rest, pack them up. Ji Mengzhu? Senior Emperor Wu, has your iron-eating beast already carved 8 inscriptions? Shiyu asked. Apart from the meteorite fragment, all the other metals have been absorbed. Emperor Wu nodded. Then why don't we do it together? Shiyu looked at the pile of meteorite fragments on the table and said. Emperor Wu's iron-eating beast talent potential was not bad. Not every iron-eating beast had the chance to carve 9 inscriptions. The more inscriptions it carved, the stricter the requirements on its physique. But today, 2 giant pandas with 9 inscriptions were probably about to be born here. No. To be precise, Shiyu's 11 was 10 inscriptions. Apart from the original 9 inscriptions, there was also the exclusive superalloy inscription developed by Ling. Sure. Emperor Wu nodded. He also wanted to see Shiyu's iron-eating beast. At the border of Donghuang. Soon. Shiyu and the others arrived at a spacious land. General Ji Yunhai rushed over when he heard the news. In a small place, 1 legendary and 3 legends gathered at once. After arriving outside, Emperor Wu summoned his iron-eating beast as he walked. Roar! A 2-meter-tall panda in a restrained form with a domineering expression directly appeared. This iron-eating beast had just finished the battle, but the injuries on its body had already healed. Seeing that Emperor Wu had prepared a pile of healing resources for this battle, Shiyu didn't even have time to recommend the ginseng baby divine medicine. Apart from the incurable Yunan's injuries, most of the other injuries had already healed. Chapter 1094, 1094-11's Evolution, 2. 1094-11's Evolution, 2. Roar! After Emperor Wu's iron-eating beast came out, it greeted Ji Mengzhu and Ji Yunchong. Then, it stared at Shiyu with a burning gaze. To be precise, it was the summoning array beside Shiyu. Wu Tilda the 1-meter-tall 11 appeared from the black summoning array and stretched. From its size and cuteness, it could be seen that Emperor Wu's iron-eating beast was not trained well in terms of the restraint state. Wu! As soon as 11 came out, it also looked at the big guy beside Emperor Wu seriously. The 3 iron-eating beasts worth challenging in Emperor Wu Dynasty, the iron-eating beast ancestor, General Ji Yun's trump card iron-eating beast, and Emperor Wu's iron-eating beast. 11 remembered it clearly in a small notebook. It's called 11, right? Ji Mengzhu immediately said when she saw 11. Yes. Shi Yu nodded. Father, Emperor Wu, 11 is very strong. My iron-eating beast can't withstand a single move from it. Emperor Wu was not surprised. Brother Shi Yu, your pets look very strong. Shi Yu called him senior, and Emperor Wu called him brother. Both parties discussed their own things. At this moment, Emperor Wu had already understood. Shi Yu's pet that killed the Black Space Divine Dragon in Wuling City was actually another one. A mysterious sword spirit. Green dragon, mysterious water element, mysterious sword spirit. Almost every one of them had the peak strength of a top-notch totem stage. It was simply ridiculous. Although this iron-eating beast looked young and didn't evolve completely, its strength shouldn't be weak. Even if it couldn't compare to those 3, the iron-eating beast that could defeat Ji Mengzhu so easily definitely had the strength to defeat totems above its level. Emperor Wu, Ji Yunhai, and the others were very certain. It's all right. Shi Yu smiled. Why don't we let 11 evolve first? Shi Yu said. It's been looking forward to the remaining 4 inscriptions for a long time. These metals had already disappeared in the modern era, forcing 11 to come to ancient times to fill in the gaps. Rich lady, hungry, eating. All right, Ji Mengzhu hurriedly took out the 4 evolution metals Shi Yu wanted. In the next moment, spatial ripples rippled slightly. 4 fist-sized special metal ores appeared in the outside world. Each of them contained energy fluctuations above level 8. For Shi Yu and the others, who were used to using legendary resources, level 8 was not high. However, these resources were different. When using resources on pets, the first thing to consider should actually be compatibility. No matter how high the resource level was, if the compatibility with the pet was not high, the effect of using it would not be very good. Just like feeding Kai Tong Ice Element legendary energy crystals, what he obtained was only joy and diarrhea. There was no strength. On the other hand, if resources were tailor-made for pets, even if it was a low-level resource, it was possible to display a 200% strengthening range effect that exceeded the strengthening range of high-level resources. These inscription metals were clearly the metals with the highest compatibility for the iron-eating beast race. Every one of them had an enhancement effect close to a legendary resource for the iron-eating beast. Moreover, these were the best evolution materials carefully selected by Ji Mengzhu. That's it. After Ji Mengzhu took out the 4 metals of different colors, she placed them on the big rock. Among the 4 metals, there was a completely golden Zun iron that looked like a fallen leaf. The surrounding airflow was chaotic, and it should be a metal with wind and metal stats. There was also a Hemira stone that looked like a water drop. The surrounding halo was messy, reflecting the surrounding scene like a mirror. It was a water and metal attribute mirror stone. The other piece was brown and had a very irregular shape, like a random soil lump dug out. Its aura was the most ordinary. It was the Earth Mother Iron of the earth and metal attributes. The last piece of magma jelly swayed like a piece of fiery red molten metal that emitted a shocking heat. It looked the most dangerous. It was the molten metal of the fire and metal attributes. Gulp. Seeing this, 11 licked its lips. Who knew how long it had been looking forward to it? Let's eat. Shi Yu smiled. 11 immediately ran over excitedly, grabbed the Zun iron, and stuffed it into its mouth. This scene stunned Ji Yunchong, Ji Mengzhu, Emperor Wu, and Emperor Wu iron-eating beast. Crack! 11 ate the Zun iron in one bite. Wait a minute. Ji Mengzhu was stunned. Aren't you going to recover to your normal state and carve the inscription? Just as she finished speaking, boom! Right on the heels of that, a golden cyclone wrapped around little 11's entire body. The violent gust formed a tornado that directly swallowed it. Then, under everyone's shocked gazes, white light began to linger on 11's body. There were no inscriptions at all. Woo! 11 roared, and its body was completely wrapped in white light. The surrounding metal element Gus became stronger and stronger, carrying a murderous aura. Accompanied by 11's full-level royal deterrents, Ji Mengzhu and Ji Yunhai's pupils constricted. Roar! In the face of 11 in this state, Emperor Wu's royal iron-eating beast, which had already carved 8 inscriptions and had top-notch totem battle power, changed its expression and immediately took a step back. Above transcendent, almost extreme deterrence, Emperor Wu said. As expected, this iron-eating beast was also a monster. Don't worry, its control over its body has already reached a very high level. There's no need to stick to the form of fusing the evolution metal, Shi Yu said with a smile. Transcendent level superalloy, max level hardening, and super body control that could freely switch between many forms. It would be strange if 11 still needed to carve inscriptions step by step. Chapter 1095, 11's Evolution, 3. 11's Evolution, 3. It only needed to eat the metal. Then, with a thought, it could reference the inscription path and let the corresponding digestion method directly circulate in its body to complete evolution. It ate quickly, digested quickly, and evolved quickly. Soon, the evolution light dissipated. 11 was still in its form and stood quietly on the spot. It raised its arm slightly, and the golden airflow was instantly pulled to its side with the movement of its arm. Skill, Killing Wind. Stats, Metal, Wind. Level, Super. Introduction: it's an extremely cold metal element wind. It's like the aura of withered plants in autumn. It can severely affect the life form of the enemy who comes into contact with the murderous wind, increasing the speed of the enemy's consumption and injuries. At this moment, as 11 awakened its new skill, Shi Yu smiled. Success. At the side, Ji Mengzhu couldn't help but be in disbelief when she saw 11 complete a small evolution and successfully awaken a new race skill after just eating the Zun Iron. There was really no inscription. It's actually so easy. General Ji Yun had also lived for a long time and had an incredulous expression. It was clearly an evolution method passed down by his ancestor, but when Shi Yu used it, he felt especially unfamiliar. At the same time, he could sense that the murderous wind in 11's hand was extremely terrifying. This was a skill that weakened the enemy's state. Apart from being related to metal and wind attainments, the effect of the skill was also related to the user's deterrence level, battle resistance, and strength of killing intent. The stronger these were, the colder and crueler the murderous wind. The more the enemy could feel fear, the greater the weakening state. It could be said that it was a super skill that could be perfectly compatible with deterrence. The others couldn't judge, but only the deterrence level could be judged. This iron-eating beast was definitely ridiculously high. Woo! 11 was delighted. This time, it wasn't afraid of Buggy anymore. Originally, 11's aura was the strongest among all the members. After all, it was a full-level royal deterrence. However, with the killing wind, 11 felt that as long as it polished it and suppressed Buggy again, it would be just around the corner. At the same time, the effect of the killing wind was also very effective against opponents with strong recovery abilities like Buggy and Baby Ginseng. In the next team internal competition, he should be able to easily kill Buggy, right? Buggy? Wishful thinking. Continue, Shi Yu said. Upon hearing that, 11 ran to pick up the Mirror Stone and ate it. Mirror Stone can allow the iron-eating beast to awaken the mirror reflection skill, right? Shi Yu said. Yes, General Ji Yun said. This skill is very special. It's tailor-made for the weakness of the demon god iron-eating beast. Actually, among the 9 inscriptions, the first inscription developed was the demon god inscription that evolved through the meteorite fragment. And the demon god body skill of the demon god iron-eating beast can allow any stat skill to have dark element effects. Therefore, when its other inscriptions evolve, there are so many skill stats in order to maximize the effect of the demon god body. However, not all skills are to cooperate with the demon god body. The demon god iron-eating beast is dark element and is afraid of light stats. Therefore, its mirror reflection skill is extremely special among all skills. It's specially born to counter light element. Skill, mirror reflection. Stats, metal, water. Level, super. Introduction, it can enter the mirror state and reflect light element skills. According to the skill level, it can strengthen the power of the light element skill reflected. Obviously, this was a defensive skill against light. Ordinary demon god iron-eating beasts were really afraid of light. But wait, I remember, at this moment, as 11 entered the evolution state again, Ji Mengzhu suddenly thought of something. 11, has it mastered light element lightning? She clearly remembered that when 11 fought her iron-eating beast, apart from the black demon god lightning that represented the dark element, there was also a special white lightning. What? When Ji Mengzhu finished speaking, General Ji Yunhai was stunned. Didn't he say previously that this guy had already evolved into a demon god iron-eating beast? Demon god iron-eating beast was not compatible with light. Yes. In the face of Ji Mengzhu's question, Shiyu nodded and smiled. He didn't deny it. At this moment, as 11 completed its evolution, it directly entered the Thunder God Armor state. Woo! 11 roared, and white lightning shot out of its mouth and eyes. White lightning wrapped around its entire body. 11's black and white hair shone. It was like a thunder god bathed in lightning, and its body contained shocking divine power. A moment later, 11 dispersed the lightning and nodded in satisfaction under the incomprehensible expressions of Ji Mengzhu, Ji Yunhai, and the others. Woo woo woo. You, Emperor Wu, couldn't help but look at Shiyu. Not bad, the mirror reflection skill indeed has a certain increase in white lightning. Shiyu was also very satisfied. The white lightning skill was actually not as strong as the demon god body skill. Therefore, when using the power of light, darkness, and lightning daily, in order to balance the power, 11 would reduce the use of the power of the demon god to a certain extent, in order to balance with the power of white lightning. Chapter 1096, 1096 11's Evolution, 4. 1096 11's Evolution, 4. But in the future, there might not be a need. Although the mirror reflection could be used as a defense skill, it could also be used as a strengthening skill to strengthen 11's light lightning power and increase its enhancement reflection power. Apart from that, 11 was overjoyed. Was baby Ginseng's self-destruction also light element? Did it have any hope of reflecting the moon explosion? If possible, don't ban it next time. Baby Ginseng? Dream on. After eating the second metal, 11 was still very happy. It continued to look at the third metal. Earth Mother Iron. Without saying a word, the clueless guy ate it. Skill, turning stone into gold. Stats, metal, earth. Level, super. Introduction, it can transform earth element power into metal element power. Shiyu was amused. 11 was also amused. This skill could be said to be the skill 11 looked forward to the most. Turning stone into gold. This skill was very strong. Compared to earth element, wind element, water element, wood element, thunder element environments were very rare in nature. Therefore, it was very difficult for metal element pets to find a suitable place to fight. But after turning stone into gold, it would no longer be a problem. Even ordinary sand could instantly become a metal arena under the power of turning stone into gold. For Overlord-level iron-eating beasts, using this skill would allow them to use a smaller price to exchange for more metal element natural power to strengthen themselves. Because it could casually turn a stone by the roadside into metal. Iron-eating beasts didn't like to eat rocks, but if it was metal, it was a different story. It could be said that this was still a chef skill. In fact, Shiyu had heard that if one practiced to the extreme with high proficiency, they could also transform earth element resources into metal element resources. Earth element pets could be modified into metal element pets. It was very impressive. This skill was also useful for 11. After all, 11 could really eat. In the future, he would just let 11 go out and eat dirt. The choice of high-end resources was also greater. 11 also used Earth element resources and snatched the opportunity. Wu. Sensing that 11's excitement and aura were even stronger, Emperor Wu and the others understood that this little iron-eating beast had succeeded again. Logically speaking, the pressure on the iron-eating beast would increase as it ate the evolution metal and carved a new inscription, but this iron-eating beast, there was no pressure at all. It was like eating snacks as it ate all the evolution metals, as if its potential was endless. It still wanted to eat. 11 continued to look at molten gold. It had just finished eating water and soil. Now, 11 wanted some hot food. Seeing 11 grab the molten gold with one hand, Ji Mengzhu couldn't help but remind, the absorption of the molten gold has the highest risk level apart from the meteorite fragment. The skill it brings is also the most difficult to master. It requires the iron-eating beast to have extremely strong resistance to fire element power. Don't worry, Shiyu said. Fire resistance. 11 was really quite powerful there. Although fire countered metal, for 11, who had mastered Perfect plus 47, the metal battle body, it might be only inferior to metal resistance and lightning resistance. Wu tilde? Under Ji Mengzhu's silent gaze, 11 directly grabbed the molten gold that could burn Overlord-level lives and stuffed it into its mouth. It directly ate it. Then, it spat out a mouthful of white-hot air and burped. Burp tilde? Its face was red, and it looked like it wanted more. Moreover, in the next moment, a shocking heat bloomed from 11's body. The rising high temperature directly melted the surrounding ground and the surrounding space. The sky instantly turned fiery red. Seeing this, the expressions of Ji Mengzhu, Ji Yunhai, and the others changed and they retreated slightly. Even Emperor Wu revealed shocked expressions. If this high temperature was focused, it could probably instantly melt a normal totem. How strong is your iron-eating beast's fire resistance? Emperor Wu couldn't help but ask. Even its iron-eating beast, after training this skill for so long, was not as powerful as Shiyu's iron-eating beast when it first awakened. Skill, molten gold. Stats, metal, fire. Level, super. Introduction, depending on its melting point, it can allow the metal that forms the body to release high fire element temperatures that are close to or even exceed the temperature of its melting point. In a high temperature state, its fire element resistance will increase greatly, and the speed of its energy flow will increase. Roar. 11 roared excitedly. Shiyu scratched his cheek and said, "Don't worry, it will control its strength well. Its fire element resistance is indeed not bad." After all, at the commander rank, it began to train its body through the sun fire and volcano magma. Everyone? A commander rank used sun fire and volcanic magma to train? It was metal element iron-eating beast. Was this Shiyu human? Emperor Wu's iron-eating beast was shocked. At the commander level, it was still nibbling on bamboo in Ji Mengzhu's arms. It looked at Shiyu and felt that this beast tamer was too much. Wu. 11 sensed its powerful strength and howled excitedly. It didn't blame the beast tamer. It took the initiative to ask. Unfortunately, the conditions at the awakening and transcendent levels were limited, and it missed the best opportunity to build the foundation. Perfect. At this moment, sensing the power obtained from 4 consecutive rounds of evolution, 11 already had no regrets on this trip. It wanted to fight Yunan. Fight 10. No. Yunan was still a little dangerous. 11 looked at the iron-eating beast that had been looking at it seriously. Emperor Wu iron-eating beast? What are you doing? 11. Turned A, fight. Hurry up and evolve. Then, let's experiment with a new skill. Chapter 1097 First Law Revival. 1097 First Law Revival. Thank you for the evolution materials. After 11 finished evolving, Shiyu was satisfied. At this moment, 11 was finally complete. Next, he maxed out these 4 new skills to nearly transcendent. Your iron-eating beast is a little ridiculously strong, Emperor Wu said. Although your pets can easily kill totems and even fight demigods, I can sense that they're still at the overlord level. The growth level of life has yet to reach the totem level. When its growth level reached the totem level, its life form would condense like the source, and it would be extremely malleable. This was also the foundation of totem-level life forms being able to optimize their race and skills. In this state, the life fluctuations of pets would change. Life forms of the same level or even low level might not be easy to detect, but for experts, they could vaguely sense the difference in the essence of overlord level and totem level life forms. Shiyu smiled and said, "It's just that the foundation is better." After half a year of bitter cultivation, 11 and the other's super racial skills were all close to transcendent. Some of the super skills taught had already reached transcendent. In addition to the growth increase brought by quasi-divine skills and mythical races, it could be said that even if they didn't use quasi-divine skills and didn't have the enhancement of beast tamers, 11 and the others all had the battle power of top-notch totems. If he used quasi-divine skills, faith skills, or obtained Shiyu's strengthening, he would be invincible below the demigod level. He would be at the top of top-notch totems, similar to the tyrant Dragon King of the Dragonman Empire. If he didn't have such strength, Shiyu didn't dare to say that he could fight a demigod evenly. From the looks of it, it's filled with warpath. Emperor Wu glanced at 11 and then looked at his iron-eating beast. You should evolve soon too. After evolution, let's prepare for battle together and discuss how to deal with Yunnan next. Emperor Wu looked at Shiyu again. Yes. Shiyu nodded and said, I'll get my assistant to intensify his research. On Ling's side, it had already started to study how to locate Yunnan and restrict his self-destruction. Actually, Dong Huang had started this research a long time ago. Using history as an example, it was necessary to capture Yunnan alive and think of a way to restrict the skill to seal Yunnan otherwise, if Yunnan self-destructed, not to mention renewable resources, even the dregs of resources would be gone. Among them, Dong Huang had always had a backup of technological arms that restricted self-destruction, and it wasn't only targeted at Yunnan. However, this weapon was extremely rare, and the number was comparable to divine forbidden arms. As for the technology that targeted Yunnan, it was a pity. Because the modern Yunnan was too cunning and had mastered countermeasures to technology, it had yet to succeed. However, Yunnan had never seen a mechanic in this era, so it shouldn't have this consciousness. With its fragments as a medium, it should be easy to find it. In order to restrict Yunnan's self-destruction, I still need some materials, Shiyu said. What materials? Emperor Wu asked. In order to evolve the 4 holy beasts, Your Majesty Emperor Wu, you should have gathered a lot of faith items of the 4 holy beasts, right? Shiyu chuckled. On Ling's side, it planned to take another path and combine buggies for anti-demon scent clones and the power of technology to seal Yunnan's self-destruction. However, just its and buggies' power was definitely not enough to seal Yunnan. It could only spend money. The faith item of the 4 holy beasts was a very good paywall method. It could strengthen Buggy's strength to the limit. Emperor Wu's eyelids twitched. Items of the 4 holy beasts. This guy sure was asking for a lot. After hearing Shiyu's request, Emperor Wu suspected that Shiyu had long been eyeing his collection. He didn't have other hobbies. He liked to collect some antiques, especially antiques related to the 4 holy beasts. After becoming an emperor, he even placed all the faith items of the 4 holy beasts that could be found in Dong Huang in Imperial City. Apart from liking it, the faith power contained in these things was also related to the cultivation of the 4 holy beasts. It was especially rare. And now, Shiyu directly asked for it. It was impossible for Emperor Wu not to feel the pinch. To use a portion and bring back a portion. Shiyu thought. In the historical records, most of the 4 holy beasts of Dong Huang believed in antiques that were lost after the destruction of Emperor Wu dynasty. Apart from the iron-eating beast evolution materials, Shiyu was already here, so he naturally had to share some of these things. I understand. In order to destroy Yunnan, Emperor Wu endured it. Next, Emperor Wu's iron-eating beast also successfully evolved into a demon god iron-eating beast by devouring 9 meteorite fragments. Its aura was even larger, and it vaguely showed signs of becoming Emperor Wu's #1 battle pet. A demonic aura bloomed from the iron-eating beast. Its gaze was deep and filled with supreme power, and its confidence was overflowing. Success! Dong Huang second? No, wait, the third demon god iron-eating beast. Ji Mengzhu was especially happy to see this. I wonder when my iron-eating beast can evolve again. Your iron-eating beasts will still need to be tempered again. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to withstand the meteorite fragment. General Ji Yun glanced at Ji Mengzhu. Big brother Ji is right. Mengzhu, you still have to improve, but that day isn't far away. With brother Shiyu's help, everyone can evolve after dealing with Yunnan. Emperor Wu smiled and looked at Ji Mengzhu. He and General Ji Yunchong were sworn brothers. Before he became emperor, it was all thanks to the help of the iron-eating beast tribe. He naturally cared extremely about his daughter, big brother Ji Yunchong. Otherwise, it was impossible for him to let the other party be in charge of taking care of the young royal iron-eating beast he chose. Chapter 1098, 1098 First Law Revival, 2. 1098 First Law Revival, 2. This kid is stronger again. And after seeing the evolution of the Emperor Wu iron-eating beast, Zhong Xian cursed at the Emperor Wu pet. From the looks of it, he probably couldn't defeat this little bear alone without fusing with the nether snake. Before Emperor Wu's iron-eating beast evolved, Emperor Wu also released his other battle pets one by one and witnessed the evolution of the iron-eating beast together. Emperor Wu's current 9 battle pets were Iron-Eating Beast, Pseudo-Green Dragon, Pseudo-White Tiger, Pseudo-Vermilion Bird, Zhong Xian, Nether Snake, Emperor Wu Armor, Divine Tree of Life, and Ethereal Time Monkey. Among them, Shiyu was the most familiar with Zhong Xian. He sighed with emotion. The Zhong Xian turtle from the original Space and Time definitely didn't expect that he would actually transmigrate back and see Emperor Wu. Moreover, it planned to kill Yunnan with Emperor Wu. Roar! At this moment, the demon god iron-eating beast that had completed its evolution glanced at Zhong Xian and the other pets, especially the old turtle Zhong Xian, with a rather smug expression. From today onwards, it would be Emperor Wu's strongest trump card. It already had this foundation. Don't be arrogant. Respond to its enthusiasm first. Zhong Xian muttered and looked at the little panda beside Shiyu, who was warming up with straight punches, uppercuts, and left hooks. Roar! Emperor Wu's other pets also joined in. As the 9th member of Emperor Wu team, the iron-eating beast's strength progress was the fastest. These seniors felt a sense of danger. The demon god iron-eating beast that had just evolved definitely had to adapt to its skills through battle. To be honest, none of them wanted to be that sparring partner. Therefore, in the next moment, the iron-eating beast looked at 11 and the smiling Shiyu. It was rather speechless. Did this little guy want to fight it so much? Cough. Shiyu realized that Emperor Wu's team seemed to be quite messy. They weren't inferior to his team. These 9 pets all had the will of overlords. They were quite impressive. We can indeed adapt to each other. Senior Emperor Wu, let them stop when it's time. In the future, the other pets have to understand each other and nurture tacit understanding, Shiyu said. Yes, Emperor Wu said. I have a quasi-divine level ruin I carry with me. It's a place I often train. Let them train there. Emperor Wu felt that Shiyu would be a very good sparring opponent. After reaching the legendary domain, those who were evenly matched were all enemies. There were not many opportunities to spar at the same level. He felt that after preparing for battle with Shiyu, his overall strength could still increase. It was the same for Shiyu. He felt that after sparring with Emperor Wu, who was famous for his battle power in history, his overall strength could increase greatly. You guys, General Ji Yun smiled bitterly. I wonder if I can take a look at the spar between the 2 iron-eating beasts. I want it too, Ji Mengzhu said. When Shiyu heard that, he smiled and said, then I'll summon all my pets too. With Emperor Wu's 9 totems as sparring partners, how could 11 fight alone? Emperor Wu nodded. Then, Shiyu began to summon Buggy and the others. However, this summoning made Emperor Wu and the others fall silent again. Buzz! A total of 9 black summoning arrays appeared in all directions of Shiyu, making Ji Mengzhu and Ji Yunchong widen their eyes. They carefully counted, 1, 2, 3, 9. They rubbed their eyes and were very sure that he didn't count wrongly. As the 9 summoning arrays appeared, Buggy, Baby Ginseng, Kai Tong, Susu, Ling's clone, Little G, Ducky, Little Purple, and Chi came out. Even Emperor Wu was a little stunned. Was something wrong? The Legend Beast Tamer was a level 7 space. Logically speaking, there should only be 7 contract slots. However, including the iron-eating beast that was already outside, Shiyu had already activated 10 summoning arrays and summoned 10 pets. After all, this was the number of contracts that only mythical beast tamers had. Roar! After Buggy and the others came out, their gazes immediately landed on Emperor Wu's group of pets, especially Buggy, who immediately locked onto Emperor Wu's green dragon. Among the pets summoned by Shiyu, Cubling was only a clone. It was in charge of arranging battle plans for the other pets. Its main body was still researching the secret arms against Yunnan. Chi had just woken up, but she was still blurry. She pulled Little Z beside her and hugged her as a pillow. Her cherry mouth opened and she yawned. 10. Ji Mengzhu was at a loss. However, why were most of Shiyu's pets so small and looked so harmless? In fact, there was even a ginseng baby. The only 2 who looked like experts were the huge lava dragon and the demon duck that emitted an abyss-like terrifying aura. Shiyu explained, my beast taming space has been strengthened, so I can contract more pets. At this moment, for the first time, Emperor Wu revealed an envious expression. If he could also contract more pets, his physique would definitely be stronger. Is this the sword spirit that killed the Black Space Divine Dragon? Emperor Wu looked at the immortal slaying sword formation that had shrunk to the size of Qi and was like a mini-sword maiden. But I'm more curious. Emperor Wu looked at the blue sea sprite Susu in the form of a water slime and felt that it was unbelievable. I have some guesses about its identity and race, but I don't know if it's correct, Emperor Wu said to Shiyu. Chapter 1099 First Law Revival, 3. 1099 First Law Revival, 3. What guess? Shiyu said. The legendary strongest demigod, the guardian of the sea, the blue sea sprite that has mastered the strongest cleansing power, Emperor Wu said. That blue sea sprite that hasn't appeared in 1,000 years. What? As soon as Emperor Wu finished speaking, General Ji Yun and Ji Mengzhu suddenly looked at Susu. Ning. Susu sighed. When could it escape its identity as an blue sea sprite and become a star sea sprite? Well, the reason why I said I could help Senior Emperor Wu cleanse your Yunnan radiation is because of it. Unfortunately, it's in the reincarnation stage now and hasn't completely recovered its strength. For example, the number of times it can release the attack that repelled Yunnan previously is limited, Shiyu said. It's really the blue sea sprite? General Ji Yun said in disbelief. This was a legendary race. It was 100 times longer than Yunnan's legendary history. He looked at Shiyu in disbelief. What exactly was this person's background? You? After a moment of silence, Emperor Wu's gaze swept across Shiyu's pets again. Among them, he couldn't see through Little Z and Qi the most. These 2 guys had the weakest strength fluctuations, but the feeling they gave him was the most special. Looks like there's going to be an increase next, Emperor Wu thought. In order to prepare for the next battle with Emperor Wu, Shiyu and the others entered Emperor Wu's ruined space together. Be it Ji Mengzhu or General Ji Yun, they were both very curious about which was stronger, Emperor Wu's iron-eating beast or Shiyu's iron-eating beast. 1 level higher than your opponent. If you lose, don't say we trained you. Zhong Xian and the other seniors encouraged Emperor Wu's iron-eating beast. Roar! Emperor Wu's iron-eating beast maintained its demon god form. Its entire body was enveloped in darkness, and it kept roaring. TCH, it was so annoying. No matter how strong the opponent was, it was only at the overlord level. Everyone had 9 inscriptions, so how could it lose? Moreover, although that little iron-eating beast was also a royal, from the looks of it, it should have evolved towards Wex's secondary stats. And it evolved towards spatial secondary stats. In terms of stats, it had already suppressed the other party. In fact, that was indeed the case. Be it Emperor Wu's iron-eating beast or Ji Yuncheng and Ji Mengzhu's iron-eating beast, they all evolved towards spatial secondary stats. In comparison, Shi Yu chose lightning out of helplessness. It wasn't that he didn't like space, but at that time, he really didn't have the money to raise a spatial pet. Spatial resources were so expensive. On the other hand, lightning. 11 could eat anything. However, Shi Yu didn't regret it. The lightning wasn't weak either. Emperor Wu and Shi Yu didn't plan to attack. They threw their iron-eating beasts over for them to spar. If the two of them also attacked, this ruin might not necessarily be able to withstand it. As a legendary beast tamer, even if Emperor Wu fused with the iron-eating beast alone, its battle power after the fusion was enough to be called the strongest below the demigod level. It might not be impossible to hurt demigods. If Shi Yu attacked, it would be the profundities of 11's dual quasi-divine skills. He would also insta-kill whoever he saw below the demigod level. There was no need for both parties to work so hard. Therefore, just looking at the two pandas practicing with each other was enough. Roar! Although Emperor Wu's iron-eating beast didn't know why 11 wanted to challenge it so much, it accepted it. The huge demon god iron-eating beast stood on the ground and looked at the little panda opposite it. "Let's enter the form of a demon god," the iron-eating beast said. Wu! 11 shook its head. Woo woo woo. Might not be able to win in the form of a demon god. The iron-eating beast was amused. "Don't worry, I'll show mercy." Roar! Yi! Mi! Nink! Behind 11, Buggy and the others reminded Emperor Wu iron-eating beast that 11 didn't mean that. Opposite Emperor Wu's iron-eating beast, little 11 had a serious expression and said, "Wu, I'm going to enter a full-strength chaotic state from the start. Senior, be careful." The iron-eating beast was stunned. Ooh! Boom! In the next moment, under the change in the expression of Emperor Wu's iron-eating beast, little 11, who was opposite him, directly entered the chaos form. Its body gradually enlarged under the eruption of lightning that shot into the sky. Roar! 11 roared at the sky. During the enlargement process, black and white electric arcs filled the sky and fused into 11's hair. They kept floating like a chaotic ocean. Wherever it stepped, it turned into lightning. The black and white ground was connected to light and darkness. At this moment, 11 was like a god walking out of the chaos lightning sea. At this moment, the aura of a supreme god also erupted from 11's body, shaking the sky and earth, reversing the universe, forcing the demon god iron-eating beast that had just evolved to subconsciously take a step back with a stunned expression. What was this? At this moment, it wasn't just Emperor Wu's iron-eating beast. The expressions of Ji Yuncheng, Ji Yunhai, and the others were stunned again. Even Emperor Wu couldn't help but twitch the corners of his mouth. He looked at Shi Yu, wanting an explanation. "I never said that it was also a demon god iron-eating beast. It has already completed a new round of light and darkness evolution on the foundation of the demon god iron-eating beast. I name it Chaos Panda. It's a mythical race," Shi Yu said with a smile. Arbar, Arbar, Arbar. At this moment, the expression of the Emperor Wu iron-eating beast, which originally wanted to prove its strength to the seniors, stiffened. It suddenly had a bad feeling. Zhongxian and the other pets also swallowed their saliva and looked at the powerful 11 in confusion. Damn, no way. The iron-eating beast had already F*King evolved so many times, but it could still evolve again? Mythical race, what a joke! Chapter 1100 First Law Revival, 4. 1100 First Law Revival, 4. At the same time, in the original space. just as Shiyu was going to the past to harvest resources and find a legendary sparring partner to practice with the ancient Yunnan, a huge event that affected the entire world happened here. Boom! As the world trembled, as a sound of laws that all life on Blue Planet could hear spread throughout the entire world, the world of Blue Planet changed drastically. In Itella, the sleeping world tree opened its eyes again, but it quickly fell asleep again. It was just a sign of the revival of laws. It was far from the stage where the laws completely recovered their restoration. However, there might be chaos outside. The World Tree knew this very well. For the World Tree, for the Blue Planet's will, this huge change in the world was only a sign of the revival of the laws of Blue Planet, but for the other creatures on Blue Planet, it was an incomparable gift. With this huge change, those creatures close to the demigod level were still a little short of cultivating a quasi-divine skill. For example, the tyrant Dragon King of the Dragon Empire was shocked to discover that the power of laws that was difficult to touch previously could actually touch a threshold at this moment. In the Dragonman Empire, the tyrant Dragon King, who was cultivating in seclusion, laughed out loud. As its aura rose steadily, its laughter shook the sky. Demigod! Give me a little more time. I'll also be a demigod. At that time, what can a mere Dong Huang do to me? Apart from creatures close to quasi-divine skills who felt that it was easier to touch the power of laws, those overlords and totems suddenly realized that the natural energy in the world was even more abundant. Under the shower of rich natural energy, their growth state was unprecedentedly good. Those overlords who were stuck at the bottleneck felt that the opportunity to break through was getting closer and closer to them. This change that was like the recovery of natural energy was not only for high-level lives, but also for those awakening, transcendent, commander, and monarch lives. It was also an opportunity to change their fate. At this moment, the outside world seemed to have become a high-level ruin space and mystic realm space. No matter what life level it was, it felt that its growth speed far exceeded before. Countless energy crystal mineral veins were born because of this, and countless natural phenomena appeared everywhere. Apart from that, many mythical creatures like Chi who had reincarnated gradually opened their eyes, and memories appeared. 7 island countries. Little brat, do you want to become stronger? Seeing that you've taken care of me for so long, I'll give you a chance to enter the God domain. The young man looked panicked. Let me ask you, do you want to become stronger? As long as you listen to me, you can do it. Because I'm the God. As the first revival of the laws, something unexpected happened in the world. The memories of the reincarnated gods woke up, and many overlords broke through to the totem level. New demigods were even born. In the Dong Huang Association, President Lin held a high-level meeting solemnly. The main content of this meeting was the reincarnation of a god with revived memories. Some of these god reincarnations had just awakened their memories and mastered quasi-divine skills. Some were still very weak after awakening their memories. Some were powerful ferocious beasts that had already become famous, and even national guardians. Some were pets that had already been contracted by human beast tamers with different identities. The main quests of President Lin's meeting this time were that Dong Huang had to actively welcome this change. Firstly, they had to rope in the reincarnations of the gods who had just awakened their memories and were wandering outside. I'll leave this mission to Bureau 11, President Lin gritted his teeth and looked at Shiyu's empty seat. In the end, he sighed and said, if Shiyu isn't around, I'll leave it to Lu Qingyi. Lu Qingyi is the main in charge. Apart from searching for the god with revived memories, remember to look for Shiyu too. On a certain panel of the huge conference screen, after becoming a titled legend, the more mature Lu Qingyi nodded and said, I understand. Remember to look for Shiyu first. President Lin was tired. He didn't know if the sudden revival of the laws was good or bad. As the laws revived this time, he kept feeling that Blue Planet's battle power was about to undergo a huge update. The more factions he roped in mythical creatures, the greater the right to speak on Blue Planet. At such a critical moment, he didn't know where Shiyu had gone.